Kia ora, it's 10th of June. Welcome to another edition of the Observation Post. This week, big news, New Zealand in level 1. So just keep washing your hands, and that's pretty much about the only restriction we've got. Obviously the border's still closed. So, good progress there for us. And now the big job, of course, is rebuilding the economy. And I see they announced this week that the Warehouse, which is New Zealand's version of Walmart, closing some stores, laying off about 1,000 workers. And of course, our big leader was quoted as being very angry about that whole situation. But let's remember that they did open during the first week of the lockdown, and government did turn around and told them they weren't essential and they had to close. So, the Retail Association of New Zealand, Retail NZ, was asked this week for kindness from the Prime Minister. She can show them a bit of kindness and understanding. This is business, and something probably she doesn't know too much about, but it all comes down to the bottom line and the numbers. So unfortunate for the job losses, but there you go, another casualty of the virus. Other New Zealand news, the ART, the Armed Response Team, police trials have finished, and they've said they're not going to keep those in the police force. Makes you wonder about the timing of it. Is it because of what's happening in America? Of course, that's fed out to the rest of the world, and including New Zealand. And so there's probably a lot of pressure on the police in most places around the world, and of course, big spotlight on them on their actions and things. So, bottom line for me with the police, as far as concerned, is they enforce the laws, they don't make the laws. And if you stop a policeman, you do as you're told. Okay, and I'm not saying that that poor guy in America didn't do what he was told. He certainly did, and look what happened. But let's let the wheels of justice turn and get that sorted out. But anyway, so no armed response team to be carried out. And I wonder whether it was a bit of a knee-jerk panic after the mosque shootings last year. So, but I could understand it. I mean, we've given all our guns back, or most of them, so I'd understand why we need this armed response team. Which everyone should be safe now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, anyway, carrying on. The government's still carrying on with its bill, a new bill, and I'll put the link on the underneath in the description. Quite interesting. They're carrying on with a new bill about internet security and stuff like that, and they're basically talking about being able to issue takedown notices. And it's quite vague, the wording so far. It's a new bill, but and I don't know how many readings they've had yet. Probably not any. But anyway, it's something everyone needs to be careful of. Okay, freedom of speech. It's being slowly eaten away. So be careful there and follow that. Takedown notices, like I said, they're being pretty vague. They say that selected government agencies, including the police, obviously the police, but selected government agencies. So this is even one office that decides. This is a whole bunch of government departments possibly that can issue takedown notices. And of course, predictably, to make sure there's compliance, the penalties are high for non-compliance. But it's very concerning. It should be concerning for you as well. I'm very concerned about it. Who gets to decide? Who says what is hate speech, or who says what is not suitable? Somebody's making these calls on your behalf, and you may or may not agree, but there's no recourse. They issue a takedown notice, and that's what's going to happen. And even scarier, they're talking about internet filters. So a bit like China, Iran, North Korea, I'm sure, certain places around the world, the government's put a filter on the internet, so you can't access certain websites. I know if you've been to China or Iran or anywhere like that, you'll need a VPN to get out to check your Facebook. And of course, there's no YouTube over there either. So who knows what? And of course, you won't know what they put on the internet filter. You just won't be able to have access to it from New Zealand. Now that's real scary. Internet's all about access and freedom of information. And of course they'll say, oh, it's for the best, they always throw in the terrorism and hate stuff in there just to get everybody on board. But as we've seen in the past, they use these reasons, excuses to slip things in, and then later on they just expand the powers more and more and more, whatever suits. So watch out for this bill. It's pretty scary stuff. And of course, old 1984, it's happening as we speak. Talking about New Zealand and getting the country back working again, I see the big Kiwi Rail tender for electrifying the lines out to Pukekohe from Papakura. It was going to be a big job. Oh, it is a big job, still is. 2 New Zealand companies tendered for it, and they both didn't get it. So it's going to be a combined effort by a company from South Africa and one from, I think, South Korea. I'm not sure about that, but no, definitely one from South Africa. So the Kiwis, and I think the government spokesman said we just missed out. Well, come on, just missed out. If it was only a case of numbers, you should be able to tweak them. I'm sure it came down to the price. That's what anything to do with government contracts is always based on price. So, but it'd be interesting if they crunch the numbers on what tax they make off the workers that be working on that job, the New Zealand guys, whether that would have offset the slight increase in money if we were that close for the tender. So that was sad to see. Anyway, what's happening overseas? America's still having big problems. There's some impressive footage, and I'll put another link down below, of a guy was doing security for a film crew, and this was in Seattle. So another one of those ultra liberal states, Washington. So of course the old rats are chewing their own tails there. The security guy was looking after a film crew filming the riots, and some Antifa guys broke into an unattended police vehicle and pulled out an AR. And in fact, there's 2 different vehicles, and they pulled out 2 ARs. One started firing the freaking thing. So he's lucky. If there was a police around, he would have been dead. And this guy had the wherewithal, and he was armed with a pistol, to disarm both these guys. And there's the footage there, which you can see in the link below. Disarm both of them without shooting them. A big kudos to him, man. Big balls. So that was pretty impressive stuff. But that's what it's come to over there. We remember the guy's name that was killed, unfortunately killed by the policeman. We do remember his name, but a lot of these people are using it just as an excuse, I think, to run riot. There's definitely legitimate claim for some police brutality, or at least profiling and picking on them based on race. And New Zealand also, I mean, talkback's been pretty busy this week, and we all have seen it. Some of it's unconscious, of course, and some of it is deliberate, but we are human, and we do notice the differences, and one of the differences, of course, is skin color. So we just need to think about that before we look at somebody to automatically label them or assume things about them. And I think that's, as a whole, society in New Zealand as well as anywhere else, that's something we can do. There's always saying, don't judge a book by the cover, or don't assume things about people. Certainly would be something to think about. I think this is where possibly is legitimate that our brilliant leader is talking about is show a bit of kindness. I think it's kindness in thought, you know. That's probably what she's probably getting at there. So anyway, kindness, not patronism. And I see the old Democrats in America, they've knelt to one knee. They've put on some African headgear and a scarf thing. I don't know what this got to do with poor George Floyd. I don't think he's ever been to Africa, and he certainly isn't a part of a tribe. But anyway, the virtue signaling is running rampant over there at the moment. People are shaving their heads in support. What else is happening over there? Crazy stuff. Minnesota City Council. They voted to dismantle their police force and then replace it with a transformative, what do they call it? Transformative model of public safety. So they are getting rid of the police. Now, we've seen what happens when some poor guy gets killed by the police, what riots happen. You imagine what's going to happen now with no police. Chaos. So all those liberal states, Western Seaboard, New York, all around up there as well. Just watch. All those liberal states, they're going to implode. I see in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, conservative state. And I'll put a link in there below as well. Half a town turned up on the main street, determined that no Antifa was going to ruin their town, destroy their town. And so, of course, it's a carry state and open carry, and the main street on a Friday night was full of people just down there looking after their community. And there was a protest did come, and they protested, and all the people on the streets were respectful. They protested, and then they finished their protest. Nothing was broken. They made their point. Nothing was broken, destroyed. And Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, carries on without any damage. Now, in comparison to San Francisco or Los Angeles, where the millions of dollars worth of damage. Okay, I don't know how they actually got that motivated, because those are all legal states for recreational marijuana, so I'm surprised they all managed to get off the couch. But anyway, that's probably another story. So there we go. That's what's happening at the moment in America. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. I think there's serious implications, and it's not going to go away, I don't think. I think there's definitely some legitimate problems over there, and that need to be addressed. But anyway, you know, it's all about, I think the answer is not to sit there and wait for somebody else. It's if you want to get ahead, you've got to motivate yourself. Get out of bed in the morning, make your bed, and off you go and do it. And you can do whatever you like. And there's plenty of black people, minorities, women, and big jobs all over the world these days. Okay, look at New Zealand. We've had, how many female prime ministers we had? Three. Now they didn't get in because they were a woman. They got in because they were the best person for the job. Well, except for the last one, she got in by default thanks to old Winnie. But anyway, you get my drift. So you know, you got to make it happen for yourself. No one's going to knock on your door and hand it to you. You've got to get up and go for it. Colin Powell, fantastic leader. Love that guy. Condoleezza Rice, strong woman, awesome woman. Look at the mana she has. I wish she'd stayed around, but she got out of politics and that, spent more time with the family. So, can be done. Definitely can be done. Instead of excuses and stuff, let's all get off our couches and get doing it. And I know I've got a good friend in Christchurch that does a lot of work in the social side of things, and probably going to get him on and have a talk. And he's certainly in a good position to give a really good perspective on how things are in New Zealand, and also to motivate people as well. He's a very good motivator, helping out people that have fell on harder times or having a few problems, but may have been in trouble with the law or something. But anyway, he's a fantastic role model for people and interesting guy to talk to, and I'll probably get him on in the next week or two. So yeah, that's about it for now. Like I say, keep an eye on everything that's happening in the States. It's quite interesting over there. And have a think about it. Do you think we'd be better off without a police force? A lot of stuff in America is not relevant to us, but you know, imagine if we didn't have a police force. So you better hope they legalise marijuana then, so that people are less inclined to tear things up. Well, short one this week. Stay safe, look after your family, and I'll catch you later. Ka kite anō.